Hey Finch fans, I'm here to talk to you about hopper style feeders, which can help reduce mess and waste in your bird cage. I have two different styles. I've ordered both of these from Amazon, but I know that they can be sourced other places. One is larger than the other, and they have some different features that I'm going to go over. First thing that you should know is I took these out of the cage, and you're seeing them in their full dirty glory. The way they work is that the food is stored here up in the silo of the feeder. It spills out and is accessed on one of these little platforms, and the birds eat it, and the seeds they drop land in a first catch row, and then the hulls fall through little holes into this waste catcher at the bottom. And when you're ready to get rid of the empty hulls, you just slide this out and empty it. One thing people like about this is if there are a lot of whole seeds that end up in here, you could recycle it and dump it right back in the top of this container and let them root through it again. I don't do that because what ends up in here is generally lots of bird waste and lots of seed waste. So I just go ahead and toss that in the trash. The first one that I ordered was this one, and this is marketed as the Rye Pet on Amazon US. It has a divider that splits the feeder into two compartments. So a lot of times I'll put Lefevre crumbles in one side and seed in the other side. It's a little bit smaller in size than the second one I ordered, but it's designed to clip to the guillotine style cage door. You can see it has little feet on the front, and it had a washer through this hole that would hold it to the top of the sliding gate so that you could just set it in outside the cage sitting over the door opening. I have a cage that had swing open doors at the time, so I ended up drilling a couple of holes in the back and adding washers and little wing nuts so that I could hang it inside the cage. I happen to like that method also because it keeps any seed hulls that do drop and any messes closer to the middle of the cage rather than hanging over the outside of the cage. Either method works depending on what style doors you have, but do pay attention to that when you're ordering your feeder because it might matter to you. The second one I ordered, like I said, is larger. It does not have a divider in it. This one is the old Tico, I believe is the name it was ordered under. And it's a little bit flimsier. All of the parts and pieces seem to fit together a little bit more poorly, but it does the job. It also has two really easy hanger hooks on the back. So instead of this whole thumb screw business that I have going on with the first one, I literally just put it in the cage and hang it on the wall. It works great. Okay, I've washed and dried all the parts and pieces of my hopper style feeders, and I'm just going to quickly show you how they fit back together. The top piece, this is the one that I said fits together a little bit shadier than the first one I ordered. The top piece just snaps into place on the base. There are little tabs that slide into the bottom of the hopper and snap into place. The lid will slip onto the top. This one doesn't fit quite as nicely, so I always have to pull it a little bit to get it on. And then this waste tray will slide right into the bottom. And this one's ready to go. You just pop the top off, pour the food in, and hang it right on the back of your cage using these hooks. I guess it should say on any wall of your cage using those hooks. This one is a little bit trickier because of the fact that I have this homemade modification so that I can hang it on the inside of the cage rather than putting it in the door opening. But I slide all the parts and pieces back together, and then I simply put my hardware that I bought at my local store through these holes that I drilled in the back. And when I put it on the cage wall, I'll then slide a washer and a wing nut over it, and it's good to go. I find that with one pair of birds in each side of my flight cage, I can fill this. I rarely fill it to the top because my waste tray fills up before my hopper empties, but I'll fill it halfway up and I can leave them for 3 days or so, and they have a fresh, clean supply of food throughout that time. So there they are, filled and ready to go. You can see my seed choices are readily available, and I'm ready to hang them on the inside of the cage. So there you have it, my hopper style feeders hung back nicely into the flight cage. You can get a review from me of this Paw Hut double flight cage if you want to check out my channel. And the only benefit I would mention, if you buy one of the feeders that's meant for hanging in the guillotine style cage door, which is one of these, when it sits outside of the cage, you'd be able to refill the hopper from that top right here, this top piece, very easily from outside the cage, and empty the waste tray from there as well. My personal preference is to keep the mess as far in the cage as I can, rather than have it spilling out the sides, but it would certainly function well in either way. So I hope that this was helpful and that you give one of these hopper feeders a try. Thanks, see you next time.